Hello, welcome to the video tutorial Spring Boot JDBC CRUD. In this video tutorial, you will learn how to develop a Spring Boot web application that manages data in a relational database. So, why using Spring Boot with JDBC? Because it's very simple. You need to learn just a little Spring JDBC API. Since we don't use any heavy ORM framework like Hibernate, it is very lightweight and fast. So using Spring Boot with JDBC is ideal for small applications. Throughout this video, you will learn how to develop this Spring Boot web application that manages sales records in a relational database. As you can see, this is the home page of the application that displays all the sales records in a table format. The columns are ID, item name, quantity, amount, and for each item, the user can edit or delete, and the user can enter new cell that will display the new form like this. Enter new cell with 3 fields: item name, quantity, and amount. And this is a edit form that allows the user to edit and update the details of a cell record. Here are the technologies will be used in this tutorial. Spring Boot with embedded Tomcat server, the Spring MVC for the web layer, controller layer, Spring JDBC via JdbcTemplate class to work with the JDBC, and Thymeleaf for the view layer. Thymeleaf is modern and better than JSP and JSTL, and we use Oracle JDBC Driver to work with Oracle database, and JUnit for unit testing. And to follow this tutorial, make sure that you have the following software programs installed on your computer: Java Development Kit JDK, Eclipse IDE, Oracle Express Database Server, and Oracle SQL Developer to manage database. And here are the steps for the development. First, we create an Oracle database, and then we create a Spring Boot project in Eclipse, and then we specify database connection properties or data source, and then we code the domain model class, and then we code the DAO class, and we code the Spring MVC controller class. Then we code the Spring Boot application main class, and then we implement the features of the web application: CRUD operation, list cells, create cell, edit, update cell, delete cell, and finally we will learn how to package and run our Spring Boot web applications. Next, let's create a table in an Oracle database. The table name cells with the following columns: ID, item, quantity, amount. Now this is Oracle SQL Developer tool that allows programmers, developer to manage Oracle database. And I connect to the default database on Oracle Express Database Server, username, system, and password. Okay. Connected. Expand the tables. Note here, You can see there are many tables created when Oracle Database Express Server is installed. So I create a new filter here to show only our tables. Apply filter. And choose a criteria created date, which is greater than today. Set today. Okay. Click OK. And now right click here to create a new table. Table name is sales, and column name. The first column is ID. Data type is number, not null. Click this button to add column. You can see the second column is item, which is item name of the item. Varchar 2 size is about 50, not null. And the third column is quantity. Data type is a number, not null. And the last column is amount of money for the item. So here we use float, not null. Okay, so in this table we have 4 columns, and check this option to indicate that the ID column is a primary key column. Okay, and click OK. And you see the table sales has been created here. You can see it contains 4 columns here. And for Oracle database, we need to create a sequence so that the values of the ID column can be automatically generated. So expand the sequences node here and right click new sequence. Enter the sequence name is sale underscore sequence. Start with value 1, increment by 1, mean value is 1, and max value is, for example, 1 million. Okay, click OK to create the sequence. And you see the sequence name sale underscore sequence got created here. And next we need to create a trigger in the table sales so that when a new row is inserted to the table, the value of the ID column is automatically generated based on the sequence. Click triggers here. Action. Table trigger here. Create primary key from sequence here. Trigger name is, for example, trigger cell ID. Choose the sequence name is cell underscore sequence, and column name is the ID column. Click apply. You see trigger cell ID created. Okay. So that every time a new row inserted to the sales table, the value of the ID column is automatically generated is similar to the auto increment identity column of MySQL database. Next, let's create a project in Eclipse IDE to develop our Spring Boot web application. This is Eclipse IDE on my computer. Create a new Maven project here. Maven project. Check this option. Create a simple project. Next, and enter the group ID is net.code Java. Artifact ID is sales manager. You can specify the parent project is parent project of Spring Framework org.springframework.boot, and artifact ID is spring boot starter parent, and version is I use the version 2.1.8. Release. Okay, and click finish. And you see the Java Maven project is being created here. Wait for a moment while it is creating the project, as you can see here. You can see it is downloading required dependencies for Spring Boot project, for Maven project from online Maven repository. So it may take a few minutes to complete. Okay, here we go. The sales manager project got created here. Open the Maven pom.xml file here, and you can see we specify the parent project is for Spring Boot. You see here, and you can see some dependency, some okay. And in this Maven project, we need to specify the following dependency: Spring Boot Starter JDBC to use Spring JDBC, and Spring Boot Starter Web to use Spring MVC and embedded Tomcat server, and Spring Boot Starter Thymeleaf to use Thymeleaf view template. And we also need to specify Oracle JDBC Driver. First, let's specify dependency for Spring Boot JDBC first. Dependencies. Okay, let me change the font size for the code editor here. Text editor. colors and fonts, text file on it. Okay, so it looks better, right? And the first dependency is for Spring Boot Starter JDBC. Artifact ID is org.spring framework boot. Sorry, it should be a group ID. And artifact ID is spring-boot spring-starter JDBC. Then save the file, and you will see Maven automatically downloads the required Java file from a Maven repository. This may take a few minutes. And the next dependency is for Spring Boot Starter Web. So we can copy and paste. Yeah, just change JDBC to web to use Spring MVC and embedded Tomcat server. And the third dependency is for Thymeleaf. The name is Spring Boot Starter Thymeleaf to use Thymeleaf view template. Save the file to let Maven automatically download the required Java files. And as you can see here, many Java files required to use Spring Boot. And the last dependency you need to specify is for Oracle JDBC Driver. Because Oracle limits the license to its JDBC driver, so you have to download Oracle JDBC driver from Oracle website. Here on my computer, I already download the Oracle JDBC driver. Here, JDBC 8, you see, and we need the JDBC 8 Java file here. The last dependency is for Oracle JDBC driver, with group ID is com.oracle, and artifact ID is JDBC 8 version 1.0. And because this Java file is on local computer, so we need to specify the scope system here, and then we specify the path to the Java file. Here I copy the path here, you see. Paste here. And the Java file name is JDBC a.jar. Use /. Okay. Then save the file. and here we see the jar file for JDBC appears here. You see, and you need to specify a plugin for Spring Boot Maven plugin. Specify Spring Boot Maven plugin here in the plugin section. Sorry, in the view section. Plugins, and plugin. This plugin is required to make our project work with Spring Boot. Group ID is org.spring framework.boot, and artifact ID is spring-boot-maven-plugin. Okay, and save the file. Done. So thus we have done the configuration for Maven dependency for the project. Next, we need to specify database connection properties or data source. Yeah, for JDBC URL, username, password. So in the project, we need to create a property file under the src main resources folder here. I click new as a file. Next, and the file name is applications.properties. Application.properties. Click finish. And first we need to specify the JDBC URL to Oracle database. So here we specify spring.data source.url is JDBC Oracle teen @sign and host name of the database server. Here I'm using Oracle Express database server on my local computer. So this is localhost, and the port number is the default port number 1521, and the database name is the default database name of Oracle or Express database is XE. Okay. And the second property is username. So I copy this and paste. Spring.datasource.username is system, and the third property is password, and save the file. We also need to specify the login level for the root logger info. Okay, login dot level dot root equal info. Okay, so that's for the properties for the project. Next, before writing code, let's review the diagram of the classes which we are going to write in our project. First is a domain model class cell that represents a cell object, a row in the database with field ID, item, quantity, and amount. And then the sales DIO class that implements CRUD operations using Spring JDBC via the use of JDBC template class. You can see the CRUD operations here: list, save, add, update, delete, and we use JUnit testing framework. So we also need to code the sales DAO test to test all the methods of the sales DAO class. And in the web layer, in the controller layer, we need to code the Spring MVC controller class to handle requests coming from the clients. And in this controller, it uses sales DAO instance here. And to start our Spring Boot web application, we need to code the main class with main method to bootstrap Spring Boot application sales manager. So these are the 5 classes we need to code in this project. Now let's code the domain model class sales. First, we need to create a new Java package here. Package. The package name is net.code Java. Finish. And under this package, we create a new Java class. The class name is sale. Okay. This is that's a Pozo class, Blender Java object class. With 4 member variables or 4 instant fields. The first one is ID, and the second one is item, corresponding to the columns in the database table. Quantity and amount. And then we need to generate constructors and getters and setters for this class. Source generate constructors using fields here. True all fields excluding the ID field. Generate. You see. And we also need to generate an empty constructor. So choose the option generate constructor from superclass. Generate. Okay. Okay, and then we need to generate the getter and setters methods. Check all. Generate. Okay. Very easy. And generate the toString method to display the details of the sale. Okay, so that's very quick. Okay. Next, we are going to code the sales DAO class to implement CRUD operations using Spring JDBC via the use of the JDBC template class. New class here. The class name is sales DAO. Finish. And in this DAO class, we have an instance of the JDBC template class. JDBC template. JDBC template. And the CRUD method. The first one is a list method that return a list of rows in the database in form of list collection, list self list. For now, let's return no, and then we implement the code later. Let's create the method, and the next method is to insert a new row into the database. Save cell. Okay. And the third method is to read a specific row from the database. Public cell read ID. Just return no for now. And the method to update a cell. And the last method is to delete a specific cell based on the ID. Public void delete integer ID. And we need to create a constructor that takes an instance of JDBcTemplate class, so we can test this class. So I click source generate constructor using fields here. JDBcTemplate generate. Okay. And now let's write code for the list method. Yeah. We declare a variable type string to specify an SQL statement. A very simple select SQL statement. Select all from the sales table. And with JDBC template, we can simply call the query method JDBcTemplate query that takes the first argument is a SQL statement, and the second argument is a bin property row mapper. New instance, and pass the sales dot class here. Sale.class here. So you don't have to write code to extract the result set, because the bin property row mapper class does a work of extract the information from the result set and return the list of cell here. List cell equal, and return this cell. And now let's write a unit test class to test the methods of this sales DAO class. We right click here, new other, and choose the unit test case here. Next, and here we choose a new JUnit Jupyter test. Source folder is src test Java here. The name of the test class cell DAO test, and we need to specify the setup and teardown method. Okay. Next, and we choose a method to be tested. Here, choose list, save, add, update, and delete, and click finish. Add the unit file library to the build path. Okay. In the setup, we need to specify. We need to create a new instance of JDBcTemplate, and in the cell DAO test class, we need to create an instance of the sales DAO here. Cell DAO. DAO. And create a new data source here. Simple. Driver data source here. Data source equal new simple driver data source, and set URL. We can copy the URL from the application .properties file here. Set user name system. Set password. And set the driver class name. Sorry, we need to use different class driver manager data source. So we can set the driver class name as a string here. Data source set driver class name for Oracle is let's see, for Oracle it is Oracle dot JDBC dot Oracle driver, and create a new instance of the sales DAO here, passing the instance of JDBC template. New. Sorry. New JDBC template, and passing the data source here. Okay. And write code for the test list method here. DAO dot list return a list of cell object. Cell list cell. Okay, and we assert that we also choose that the list is empty now because you see we haven't have any row in the table. Here in the table cell here, click the data column here, and you see it is empty, no rows. Okay, now let's run this test method. Right click here, test list, run as JUnit test. And you see the test has executed successfully with the green check mark here, green bar here, and in the console view you can see some login information from Hibernate. From Spring JDBC, and you can see it is executing the select SQL select query here. Okay, so far so good. Next, let's code the Spring MVC controller class app controller here to handle requests coming from the clients. New class. The class name is app controller. Finish. And in this Spring MVC control class, we need to use a annotation controller. And in this controller class, we need to have an instance of the sales DAO class, which is automatically injected by Spring Framework. So private sales DAO, and we use a auto while annotation to let Spring Framework to automatically inject an instance of the sales DAO class here. And the first handler method is to view the home page here to list all the sale records. Public string view home page model. And we return the view name index, which is a template name. And in this handler method, we list all the sale items, sale records. So we call list sale equal DIO list, and we set the list sale object here to the model attribute. Name is list sale, and value is collection itself, list sale. Okay. And next we code the sale manager class, which is a Spring Boot main class to start the Spring Boot application. New class. The class name is sales manager. Check this option to generate the main method. Oh, finish. Okay, and we need to use annotation of Spring Boot is Spring Boot application, and in the main method we call Spring application run the sales manager class. Okay. And in the controller class handler method here, we need to specify the URL mapping request using the request mapping annotation, and the URL is /, which is map which map to the root context of the application. Okay. And now we can run the sales manager class on our Spring Boot application. Right click run as Java application here, and you can see Spring Boot logo appears, and we got error here. You see application failed to start. The injection point has a following annotation. No problem. It's because in the sales class we haven't used annotations. Here we need to use the annotation repository to indicate that this is a repository class and specify the auto-while annotation for the JDBC template here. Okay. Now let's run the program again. Sales manager. Spring Boot logo appears, and with a lot of logging information here, you can see the last line is started sales manager in 4.2 seconds, and you can see it say Tomcat started on board 8080 with context path empty. That means our Spring Boot application is up and running. Now we can open our browser to access the application. Here I open my Chrome browser and I type the URL is http localhost 8080, and we got an error here because we haven't created the view yet, the Thymeleaf template file. Error resolving template index here, you see. Now let's create our first Thymeleaf template file under the LRC / main forward resources folder here. Create a new folder as a and choose folder here. Next, and this folder name is templates to store the templates file you see here, and create a new HTML file here. HTML. Next, and the name is index.html. Note that the name of the file should match the view name returned by the handler method in Spring MVC controller class here. Index here, you see. Click this terminate button to terminate the application, because now we are going to make changes. Okay. And modify the title of the page is Sales Manager application, and for Thymeleaf template we need to specify the XML namespace here. XML namespace http://www.w3.org/1999 XHTML, and the second Namespace is for Thymeleaf. http www.thymeleaf.org. Okay. Just set is Unicode UTF-8. Let's see the user interface. User interface here of the home page here. That list all the sales records here. The heading sales records. We use a div center. Using the heading 1 element sales record. Okay, save the file and let's run our Spring Boot application to see if it is working. Thymeleaf is working, and then we update the code to display the list of sales record to get started sales manager. Okay, refresh, and you see the heading sales records here. That means our Spring Boot web application is up and running successfully. And in the local console view, you can see it initializing Spring Dispatcher servlet. So far so good, right? But one drawback of developing Spring application, because it is you have to terminate and run the application each time you make changes. So terminate. We use a table to display the list of sales records. Border 1. Which cell padding is 10 pixel. Table header. And header row, header column. We show the header ID, item name, quantity, amount, and actions. ID, item name, quantity, amount, and actions. This is a header, and in the body of the table we list all the sales record from the database. Table body. And then here we use the syntax of Thymeleaf to iterate to the data. We use a DSH attribute to iterate through the list of cells. You see, for each cell in the list cell is the name of the attribute we set in the controller class here. This cell here, you see. Sorry. This cell here. Okay. This cell here, and cell here is the name of each item. and from each cell we display the text is cell dot id, and then item quantity and amount cell dot item name quantity cell dot quantity, and this is quantity, and amount cell dot amount. With Thymeleaf, the HTML code looks normal, looks good because we use attribute like this. We don't mix the JSP and the STL code. Okay. Now we can run the application again to see if it displays the list of cells because properly started. Now refresh. You see the table is empty because we don't have any rows in the table. So now let's go to SQL Developer 2 and insert a new row here. Item is, for example, iPhone X. Quantity is 1. Amount is 999. Okay, and click here to commit changes. Okay, in the table we have one row, and now let's refresh our application, and you see it displays one row. Item name iPhone X, quantity 1, and amount 999. Very good, right? And next, let's implement the enter new cell feature that allows the users to enter the details of the new cell record and save it into the database. When the user click this blink enter new cell in the home page, it displays the enter new cell form that looks like this with 3 fields: item name, quantity, and amount. Come back to Eclipse IDE, and in the home page, after the heading, we need to create a hyperlink, enter new cell. After the heading here, we create a hyperlink, enter new cell using the A tag. Enter new cell, and the URL is /new, which is relative to the application context root. And in the controller class, we need to write a new handler method to handle this relative URL. Here, the second handler method, request mapping /new public string, so new form model. Okay, and return the view name is new underscore form, and we need to set a empty cell object, cell equal new cell to the model attribute. Name is cell and value is a cell object. uh, with empty values. Okay. And in the view layer, we need to code a new template file with the name new underscore form not html. Here we can copy the code of the index.html here, copy and paste, and change the name to new underscore form. Okay, open and change the title to change the page title to new cell. The heading is enter new cell. There's no hyperlink here. Delete the table header here. Delete. And in this form, we use a form attribute, form tag. Here, break line here, and form tag. Action. Because we use Thymeleaf, so specify the action in the Thymeleaf attribute instead the normal action attribute of the HTML. Side / save, and the object of the form, object name is cell, which is the name we specify in the model attribute in the controller class. And of course, the method of the form is post. Okay. And inside the form we use a table. And let's see the user interface. We have the 3 fields: item name, quantity, amount, and the text boxes here. So in the first line, table row is for item name, and we use input element, input type equal text, and we use the Thymeleaf attribute field to specify the field name in the model class. Asterisk item. Item here is a field name in the model class cell. Here you see item here. Okay. And the second row is for quantity. So we can copy and paste the code. Quantity. And the field name in the model class is quantity. And the third row is for amount. Field name is amount. And the last row is let's see, is a save button here. Table row, table data, button type equal submit. the name of the label of the button is save. Okay, and this should span over 2 columns. Okay, that's it. And now let's run the application again. Sales Manager, and you see Spring Boot application is started. Okay, and let's refresh our Chrome browser. And you see we have the hyperlink enter new cell here. Click here, and the enter new cell form appears here with 3 fields: item name, quantity, and amount. Click the save button, and you see error page because we haven't implemented the handler method for this URL yet. Next, let's implement the save method in the sales.dal class to insert a new row to the sales table. Yeah, we use simple JDBC insert class from Spring JDBC. Simple JDBC insert actor equal new simple JDBC insert take the JDBC template as argument, and with this insert actor we specify the table name with table name is sales without s, and specify the columns to be used in the insert SQL statement. We use a columns. Let's see, item, quantity, and amount. Sales item, quantity, amount, and then we use the bean property SQL parameter source. Bean property SQL parameter source here, para equal new, to wrap around the cell object, so it will automatically generate the SQL insert statements based on the information we provide, the table name and the column names, and the values is read from the cell object here, and finally call insert actor, execute para. So you can see with Spring JDBC it simplifies the coding of the SQL insert statement. You don't have to write SQL insert statement, just specify the table name and column names. So it's very convenient to use Spring JDBC. Stop the application, and next we write a unit test method to test this save method in the sales.dal test class here. Create a new cell object, cell equal new cell, and specify the information, the details. Item name is, for example, fan, cooler fan. Quantity is 1 and amount is 49.99, and go down DAO save cell here. Let's run this test method. So the outline view, yeah, and run test save. Next, JUnit test. You see, the test has passed with a green bar indicator here. Let's check in the database here, refresh. You see, the second row appears, cooler fan, quantity 1, and the amount here. Okay. And we can run the test list method again. And now we assert that the list is not empty. So we use the assert for statement here, assert for, and run this test method again, test list. And you see, successfully. Okay, so far so good. So we have implemented the method to save a new cell object as a row in the database, and now let's integrate this method into the controller layer here. In the controller layer, we need to code a new handler method. New handler method, public string save. We specify the request mapping here. Request mapping value is JTPOL. This should match the action of the form. As you can see here, the action of the form here, /save here, you see. And request method is post method equal request method post. And in this method, we need to specify the annotation model attribute, which the name is the name of the attribute in the form. So is an object, as you can see here, the name cell here should match the name cell here in the form. Okay. And in the method body, simply call DAO save cell object and redirect to the home page. So return a redirect string, redirect here. Okay, let's run our application again. Sales manager. Okay, started. Home page. Enter new cell. I enter the item name is for example, fried chicken. Quantity 3. Amount is 10. And click save. And you see it return to the home page with fried chicken here. quantity is 3 and the amount is 10. The ID 41 is automatically generated by Oracle database. And let's check in the Oracle SQL Developer to refresh data, and you see the third row, third item, fried chicken here. Very good, right? Next, let's implement the feature that allows the user to edit and update a cell record. As you can see in the home page here, next to each item, there's a hyperlink edit that allows the user to edit a specific item. If the user clicks this hyperlink, the edit cell form appears like this, allows the user to update the item name, quantity, and amount. And note that the ID field is read-only. And click the Save button to update the details of the cell record. Okay. First, we need to implement the get method here in the cell EAO class. This returns a cell object based on a given ID. So we declare the SQL select statement like this. Select all from cells where ID equal question mark is a placeholder. Then we specify an array of arguments to contain the value of the ID, and we call the JDBC template query for object method, query for object, passing the SQL, and we use bin property row mapper for the class cell. New instance for the class cell. So it checks the result set and set values for the object cell return arguments. Arrays argument is the second parameter here, and this method return a cell object cell equal, okay, and return cell here. That's it. You see, Spring JDBC makes it simple. You specify the select SQL statement and then call the query for object method, passing the SQL statement with the arguments if any, and use a bin property row mapper to map the values in the result to a model object cell here. Now let's write a unit test method for this get method. Sales DAO test here, the get method here. ID equal 41. In the database we have ID of 41, which is item fried chicken here, and call cell equal get ID, and we insert not no. This cell object is not no. Now let's run this test method. Test get. You see, the test has been passed successfully. And now let's write a handler method to handle the submission of the new, to handle the submission, to handle the click of the edit hyperlink in the home page, but we need to specify the hyperlink here in this home page. The last column is for the actions, which include hyperlink to edit the item. Edit / edit / and then is the ID of the cell.id, and we need to have a blank line here. And in the controller class here we got the edit method to handle the request to edit the cell record. Is return a model and view object. So edit from, let's return no now, and specify the request mapping. The URL is for /edit, and we specify the value placeholder for the value in the URL is the ID. And here in the method parameter we use a path variable name equals ID. So Spring we translate the value after the / here to the variable ID, name ID, and we declare the variable here. And create a new model and view object, MAV new model and view. Specify the view name is edit_form, and we call the DIO get method to get the cell item based on the ID, and add this cell object to the model. Add object, name is cell and value is object, and finally return the model and view object. Okay. And next we need to code the edit form. You can copy the code of the new form here. Copy, paste, edit_form. You see here. Edit_form.html. Change the title of the edit page to edit cell. The heading is edit cell, and the relative URL for the action of the form should be /update. We keep the same name for the object cell, the method post, and you see the edit form. The ID field here is read-only. You can copy and paste here. ID input type equal text, name of the ID field, and specify the attribute read only equal read only. Okay, then item name, item quantity, amount, and submit button. Okay, that's it. Now let's run our Spring Boot web application. Sales manager. Okay, started. And refresh. And click here to edit the item iPhone X. Edit. You see it shows the details of the item iPhone X. ID 1, name iPhone X, quantity 1, amount 999. Go back and try to edit another item, cooler fan. I edit. You see ID 20, name, quantity, amount. Very good, right? Fried chicken. Very good, right? Click save. And we got an error page because we haven't implemented the handler method for this URL. Now let's do it in the controller class, but we need to implement the update method in the DAO class first. Stop the minute update here. We use SQL statement. Update sales set item equal item. Here we use name parameter for the SQL statement. Quantity equals colon quantity, amount equal colon amount, where ID equal colon ID. Note that the name of the parameters here should match same as the names of the properties of the field names in the domain model class here, ID, item, quantity, and amount. So then we can use the bin property SQL parameter source like this. Bin property SQL parameter source param equal new, and passing the model object cell here. Then Spring JDBC we automatically get the values from this model object and set to the statement. And then we use name parameter JdbcTemplate that support using of bin property SQL parameter source equal new JdbcTemplate. Okay, and call template update SQL and parameter. Okay, that's it. So you can see Spring JDBC also simplifies the coding of the SQL update statement by handling the values of the parameters using the bin property SQL parameter source here. And now let's write a unit test. in the cell DL test class here, test update here, and we test update the cell with the ID 41 equal new cell. Cell ID 41. ID 41 in the database is fried chicken. Quantity 3, amount 10. Set item is fried chicken new, and set the amount, set the quantity is 4, and update the amount is 20, for example, and then call DIO update cell. Now let's run this test method, test update, done as the unit test. Reward error. No value supplied for the SQL parameter amount. Oh, I have typo here. So with unit test, we can detect the bug earlier before integrating into the web and controller layer. Here, where I have typo here. Okay, now let's run the test method again. You see, the test has been passed successfully. Very good, right? And let's check in the database. Refresh this table data, and you see the item name now becomes fried chicken new, quantity 4 and amount 20. Very good, right? Okay, so far so good. Now let's code a new handler method in the app controller class here to handle the submission of the edit form here for the URL /update here. It is similar to the save method, so we can copy and paste the code of the save method here and paste here. Let's change the method name update, and the mapping URL is /update, and change the code to DIO dot update, and finally redirect to the home page. That's it, very simple. And now let's start our Spring Boot web application to test Sales Manager. Up and running. Go to the home page. Now you see I edit the item cooler fan. Edit, set quantity to 2 and amount to 100, and click save. You see it is updated quantity 2 and amount 100. Let's check in the database. Refresh the data. You see quantity 1, amount 49. Now let's click here to refresh. You see quantity now 2, amount 100. Very good, right? And finally, we are going to implement the feature that allows the user to delete a specific item here. As you can see, next item, there's a hybrid delete that allows the user to delete a specific cell record here. And after the item has been deleted, let's refresh the home page. So let's implement the delete method in the cell DAO class here. We use array SQL statement to delete a record based on the given ID. Delete from cells where ID equal with a question mark is a placeholder for the parameter, and simply go JDBcTemplate update SQL, and parameter is ID. Done. And code the test method here, and we try to delete the item with ID 1 iPhone X here, integer ID equal 1, and call delete ID. Now let's run this test method. The test has been passed successfully. And let's check the database. Refresh the table data, and you see item ID 1 iPhone X has been removed. So far so good. And now let's update the home page to include the hyperlink to delete next to the edit hyperlink here. URL is /edit, and // is the ID of the cell. And let's code the controller class. It's similar to the edit method here, so we can copy, paste, change the method name to delete. It returns a string. Change the UI mapping to delete, and followed by value of the ID. And here we just call DAO dot delete ID, and then return redirect to the home page. Okay, that's it. Now let's run our Spring Boot web application. Sales manager. Okay, the application is started. Tomcat started. Refresh the home page. And now I try to delete cooler fan. Delete. You see, it has been deleted. Let's check in the database. SQL Developer 2. Here we have 2 rows now, and let's refresh data. And you see cooler fan disappear, removed. Very good, right? Okay, so far we have done coding implementing the CRUD operations. Now let's package our Spring Boot web application as an executable Java file. To do so, we need to update the Maven bomb.xml file to include the Java file of Oracle JDBC Driver, because we use Oracle JDBC Driver in localhost, in local computer. So in the view, we need to include that file. Configuration. Include system scope to choose to include the Java file in system scope in the view. Okay, that's it. And right click here, Maven. Sorry, run as Maven view, and specify the role name is package, and click run. We got error here because cannot try simple test because we doesn't include the JUnit. JUnit we don't need to include the test class in the final executable Java file. So now we can delete the test class and remove the unit library. Remove. Okay. And run the Maven view again. Go is package. Run. It is downloading required Java files. You see the build success, and you see it generates the Java file here. Sales manager here. You see this is a part of the executable Java file. So I copy this part, okay, and I open the command prompt and change directory to that directory, and you can see the jar file here. Sales manager version 0.0.1 snapshot.jar here. Now we can run this Spring Boot program. Java jar sales manager. You see Spring Boot logo appears in the console. And the server started. Tomcat started. Okay. And now we can test. Enter new cell. For example, pencil 10, amount 39. Save. You see. Enter another new cell. Mineral water 20, 40. Save. You see, very good, right? And edit fried chicken. Delete new. Change quantity to 2. Change amount to 9. Save. You see, very good, right? And delete mineral water. You see. Let's check in the database. You see only fry and chicken and pencils. Very good, right? Okay, so far I have walked you through the process of developing a Spring Boot web application that manages data in a relational database, Oracle database, using Spring JDBC to perform CRUD operations. And you see, for simple application, we can use only JDBC because it is simple, lightweight, and fast. We don't need to use a heavy ORM framework like Hibernate. Using Spring JDBC with Spring Boot is enough. Thank you for watching.